After go to the car, hurry. It's a rainy morning. Gonna do a review on my FRS. Come on, Jasper, let's get in. Hey, open the door and get in.
Who are you talking to?
The camera.
Huh? The camera's not a people.
Alright, in the car, Jay.
Oh.
So, gonna do a review. The Scion FRS is my family car. You can see my oldest daughter getting in. You probably can't see, it's dark in here. Alright, Jasper, you ready to get in? Alright. Yep. Alright, so I got the girls in the car. You girls ready for school?
Yeah.
Alright.
I'm just recording.
So, this is how far up I have to sit with my kids in the car. Not a lot of room, but I'm only driving in here for about 3 minutes. Alright, pulled out the garage. So you can see in here a little better. These are the kids. Say hi, girls.
Hi.
Alright, now this is how I ride with both of my kids, and they're passenger seat all the way up. And this seat here comes back. Jasper, you got room?
Yeah.
No, I need it back a little more. So, alright. About as much as I can get so I can at least fit in the driver's seat. So let me take them to school and we'll finish the review. Alright, good morning, folks. About to do a review on my Scion FRS. It's a 2013 model and I think it's run its course, so looking into getting something new. Hopefully the numbers work out that I want to pay for. So I'm going to head to the dealership after work today and see if we can make it happen. Alright, heading into work now, but I'm going to give a review on how I feel about the car, what I like, what I don't like about it, why I'm trading it in, and what to look for in the future. It's a rainy morning, so I can't drive it as aggressively as I want to. Maybe I can. That's one of the pros of this car. It's not a lot of horsepower, so you can play around in it within lower limits than like a more powerful car. So something that I love about this car, it has a really good shifter. It's probably one of the best that I've ever driven. I've had BMWs, Audis, Fords, Infiniti G35, a BMW M5, and I think this one might have the best shifter out of all of them. Although the Audi A5 that I had, it did have a pretty solid shifter in it. It was finicky going in the first gear at times, but this is by far the best one. But Audi is a close second. So I bought this car on Black Friday. When I had my M5, I was just going to a dealership. I was looking at FRSs when I was at work just to pass the time. And I'm like, man, I didn't know they were down that cheap. And my M5 was, it was a great car. And actually I had no reason to trade it in. I just got curious, test drove this car, and I actually liked it. The dealership made a good deal for me. The M5, I had a 2001 M5 with about 100,000 miles on it. And they gave me about $13,000 for it, which I thought was pretty good for a dealership to offer me for a car. It's actually outstanding because their initial offer was $8,000, and I thought that was just ridiculous. But this car, it was listed for $13,000, and I was able to get it down to $12,000 with little negotiation at all. Plus, I got more trading on my M5, so that was a win for me. Pretty sure the dealership still made profit on both ends, but you can't beat a dealership. That's why they're out there. They're out there to make money. They're not out there to give. They're not a charity, so they're going to make their money regardless, one way or another. And they're going to make a lot of profit too. The thing I like about this car, it can take a corner so fast and just remain completely stable. It remains flat at all times, although I do have upgraded sway bars, front and rear. Like, this car just does not have any body roll whatsoever. The thing I don't like about that, when you do have, while I don't have body roll at all, I do have a very rough ride. Like, some days my head just hurts from going over bumps. It's just way too stiff to my liking, and I need something a little more comfortable and actually a little faster. While it is fast, I think the power band is just could be refined. There's a big dip in power at 3,500 RPM, and during my normal commute, that's normally where I'm cruising at, 3,500 or even lower. I feel like it should be some power there. It's a big drop off from 3,500 to about 5,000 RPM. And to get the most power, I have to be all the way at probably like 5,000 and 6,000 RPM, which is pretty aggressive. And while I'm all the way up there, as soon as I hit it, I have to switch gears, so I'm not there for long whenever I do make it. But another good thing about this car is pretty good on gas for what it is. It has a high compression rate, and it takes premium fuel, but during my mixed driving, well, it's mostly city driving, I'm seeing at least 25 miles per gallon, and on the highway I see much higher, like in the 30s, probably mid 30s. But since this is Michigan, they're always doing construction, so my commute to work on I-75, it's just shut down to 2 lanes right now, so I'm not even going to think about taking it unless I get out a little earlier. And this car is a very good platform. I wish Lexus could make one of these as well, like a luxury version, but that goes against their philosophy of a lightweight rear-wheel drive car, low center of gravity, 50-50 weight distribution, and they don't want to change that at all. And that's why they keep saying they don't want to add a turbocharger to the car. They don't want to throw off that ratio. But I think it honestly could use a little more power, but it's actually fine without that power. Like, it's not too slow. It does 0 to 60 in about a little over 6 seconds with the manual. So it's not terrible. Another thing I don't like about the car, how I mentioned before, like I wish Lexus would do a version of this car. It's very loud in here. Like, whenever I'm on a phone call, like, I can barely hear who I'm talking to, and I have to scream, and I already have a deep raspy voice, so it makes it a lot harder for me, and my voice is straining. Woo! A little sideways right there, traction control on. Only doing 40 miles an hour. I'm about to get passed by a Chevy Cruze on my left. Yeah, I'm in 5th gear now. RPM is like 2,400. And the car is pretty quiet now, but anything above that, it gets kind of loud. And I wish I had a little bit. I think it doesn't even need more power, honestly. I think the torque is what it needs. It definitely lacks in torque. It's only I think 150 or 160 pound-feet of torque. And that's not a lot at all. That's like what Mazda 3s and Honda Civics have. I think the Civic maybe even has more now. It's like Corolla territory right there. I chose this car. It was a good car for that day, and now I think I had my fun with it, so it's time for me to get something else. So I had actually the worst experience ever at the dealership. And I'll probably save that for another video, but the day I bought this car, the engine blew up on the way home, so I didn't even make it home with this car, and the dealership said it was due to the timing chain. So they refused to fix it. They said I was driving it too fast. I went to 6,000 RPM is when the computer did its flash freeze frame or whatever it does, and they said that's way too high. They claimed that I shouldn't drive any car over 4,000 RPM, even though this car has a rail line of like 7,200 RPM. So I thought that was bull. And yeah, but buying a used car is as is, no warranty, so that was pretty much all they needed right there. And I doubt that I could have stood up in court against them unless I could have got them for advertising the car for something that it wasn't. And unfortunately, I didn't have the ad for the car saved. I'm pretty sure they raved about the high rail line on the car, but I don't know, maybe I'll revisit it, but it's probably too late. That was in November that was Black Friday last year, and now it's June, so I don't know the law on that. If you do, please reach out to me. So yeah, when the car on the way home, it stalled out, and check engine light came on, and the car just lost a lot of power. And Toyota actually had a recall on something, which I thought the issue was the engine spring valve or something, and I thought that would have been the issue, but that recall was just now coming out. There were no parts for it, and there was really no information on it, because I called Toyota headquarters, and they said, yeah, maybe check back once we get a full recall, and that didn't come out till December in my area, or at least that's what the representative told me. So yeah, so I needed my car, because this was my only car. I actually did have a Land Cruiser at the time, so that was my winter car, but I got this car so I could drive in the winter time as well, because the Land Cruiser is a good vehicle, reliable, but it's not fun to drive the way I drive cars. Like, I don't go off-roading at all. I just go straight to work and back home, and it's straight lines, no hills, not even a chance to off-road. I'm in like a metropolitan area, so that doesn't even exist around here for me. And even if it did, I wouldn't do it anyway, because that's not my type of fun in a car. But I gave up the M5. I traded it in because I wanted something I can drive all year round. And it's possible with the M5, but BMWs, they can be kind of expensive to fix. Well, very expensive to fix. And that car was 15 years old. And I know if something were to go wrong with the engine, the clutch, or anything powertrain, then that would pretty much break the bank, and I didn't want to have to do that. But this car actually did that to me, so I think the M5 would have been more reliable than this. And that's sad to say, because that's a BMW, and this is a Toyota, or Subaru. It's mainly a Subaru, but it's badged as a Toyota. So yeah, my M5, I could have got winter tires, but I think that was just too much horsepower for that car. And I wouldn't drive that car. That car it's approaching classic status, and yeah, it's starting to appreciate in value, and I don't think that was the car for me just to drive around. I think somebody else can enjoy it as a summer car. The previous owner before me, the previous couple owners before me, I think I was the third, maybe fourth owner of that car. They all drove it in the winter, but yeah, I didn't want to be that guy. This car, one thing I do like about it, the Subaru engine, it has that deep rumble to it. It doesn't sound like a wimpy 4-cylinder. Kind of sounds like it has some kind of girth to it, and I honestly like it. Let's see if I can rev it right now, if it can even pick up on the microphone. So yeah, it sounds like it's working with something, even though it's a weak engine. The Boxer engines are something special for the size too, and that's why Toyota went with this engine that has a low center of gravity as well in this car. So it makes it a great handler, and a 50-50 weight distribution. I'm trying to defrost my windows right now. Unfortunately, the AC doesn't work on this car, so I am hot and sweaty in here. And yeah, I can barely see. I can see good enough though, but the windows are starting to fog. Just turned on the defrost, so my apologies if you hear some wind noise. Now I'm getting passed by a Fusion. Man, people hate me. Something about this car, I think if I didn't have children, this would be a great car, but I use this car for everything. It's my daily driver, my only car right now. We have a family car, the Ford Flex, if we want to go on longer trips, but I just use this to take my kids to school or pick them up. I normally only do one or the other. My wife, she picks them up or drop them off. Yeah, this car, it needs to be a little bit bigger for me, and this car is tiny. Like, I can't sit in this car with 4 people in this car, not even tall people. I'm only 5'11", and I have a 2-year-old sitting behind me, and I have to sit up at like close to a 90-degree angle, and that's not comfortable for longer trips. And my daughter, she's 4 years old. She sits behind the passenger seat. I have to move the seat all the way up here for her to even fit. But it's doable. but I thought I could withstand it longer, but it's something I don't want to do long term. It got really old really fast, so I'm going to trade this one in. And the dealership for this car, they offered me $9,250, which I thought was okay. Went to another dealership, they offered me $7,500, and then I went to talk to their manager, like, oh, we can do $7,800. I'm like, no thanks. I'd rather keep the car. Like, yeah, I could take a loss on it, but I don't want to get bent over backwards like that. Like, it just doesn't make financial sense. Even to get a new car doesn't make financial sense to me. I have this car right now and it works, but cars are my passion, so I don't mind losing money to trade off for the happiness of it. This FRS is my 17th car. I go through cars a lot. I get like 1 or 2 different cars a year, just because I want to see like pretty much all the car and driver best drivers. I've experimented with those, got them short term, and just sold them off. And the best way to sell is private sell, but with this car, I haven't been getting many hits on it because I disclosed that it had the engine replaced. And it's still under warranty from both Toyota and Napa where I got the work done on it, but I guess that scares people. And honestly, I steer away from posts when I see that an engine will swap too. But I have documentation, so might as well. I got a couple inquiries, but nothing serious, just tire kickers, digital or online tire kickers for that matter. I think this is one of the smallest cars on the market. I don't think people honestly see me, so I can't be that aggressive driver, like trying to stop people from getting in front of me, because they honestly can't see me. Like, I look over at cars, like there's a Focus next to me, and it looks pretty big. And there's a Fusion in front of me, it looks huge. And lifted trucks, they would literally roll right over this car because it's so low and so small. And this car, I never had so many people almost run me off the road. So I was almost in an accident here with the MKT. He just got over on the side of me. I'm like, dude, I had to slam on the brakes and I was sliding. It was raining too, so I was just blowing my horn. He never acknowledged me. He just got all the way over. And thankfully, I was actually sliding because it was raining, but I was able to come to a stop before he took out the front of the car. He acknowledged it after the fact, but his reaction, he didn't even have a reaction. He just did what he was going to normally do. So, yeah, I need something bigger. There's so much traffic out here, I can't even do a proper pull, but I'll do one in a second. Let's come to a street that's emptier than this. It's kind of loud, bumpy road. In Michigan, they're always doing construction, especially in the spring and summertime. And then we get long winters, so rinse and repeat. Construction, snow, construction, snow. It's not really the greatest place to drive a car. There are certain roads in the summertime and spring, but not around here, not this particular year, just because there's so much construction. And even the alternative routes have construction too. Don't know why they're doing that. Now it's raining a little harder. Hopefully you all can hear me, but now visibility is getting a little more difficult just because there's big trucks like that passing me. I'm sitting so low, water's being thrown up everywhere. Let me turn my wipers on high. But yeah, probably gonna get a truck too, just to haul my family around. Because I honestly don't like putting the kids in the car, but I do it just so I want to have my fun too. I feel like being a parent, you shouldn't have to give that up because you have kids. If you can do it comfortably. It's not going to be a new truck though, something old. I'm looking at like an older Expedition maybe, like a 2004 and above. Whichever ones look somewhat modern. Or maybe something a little smaller. Those things suck on gas. Yes, I care about gas mileage. I know the cars that I like are bad on gas, but I try to make the best of it. Be a little bit kind to the planet. I want to pass this Murano. This damn thing is getting in my way. Can't get on it too hard because don't want to lose traction. That's one thing this car is good at, is drifting. I don't want to do it unintentionally. But the traction control, it intrudes well enough to where I wouldn't lose control of the car and crash into a tree. But now is not the best time to do that since it's so wet out here. It's actually puddles on the road now. A roll the window down to see. Get on it now. And now I'm in that dead torque curve right now. So if I want to speed, I'm flooring it now. Not really much, but I'm going to slow down. This is semi in front of me. It's actually hitting on this brake. So let me get over. Turn signal. Throwing water everywhere. Turn my lights on. That's another reason why I wish this were a Lexus. I feel like it would have automatic lights to turn on, but this car is like bare bones. I got the premium one with the upgraded audio. So yeah, some features that I wish it did have. But it's okay though, like heated seats is nice. But I don't have to have it. I have cloth seats in here and that's fine. In the winter it's not horrible. It's actually not bad at all. I kind of prefer cloth seats to leather anyway. Man, even construction on side streets over here. Woo. So maybe I'll continue this when it's not as bad. Didn't know it was gonna rain like this, so as for now, see if I can continue later on.